They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I've been preparing mine for 7 years, and the main ingredient? His son. My name's Elena Carter. 7 years ago, Victor Harrington destroyed my family. He didn't use guns or violence. He used lawyers and boardrooms, and perfectly legal documents that ripped everything away from us. My father's company, our home, our dignity. My father died 6 months after the bankruptcy. Heart attack, the doctor said. But I knew better. Victor Harrington killed him with shame and stress and the weight of losing everything he'd built in 40 years. I was 19 when it happened, watching my mother pack our belongings into a small apartment, watching her take 2 jobs to keep us afloat, watching her age 10 years in 6 months. And I made a promise over my father's grave. I would destroy Victor Harrington the same way he destroyed us, slowly, methodically, by taking everything he loved. That's where his son comes in. Liam Harrington, 28, devastatingly handsome, heir to a $2 billion empire, and he has no idea who I am. I spent 7 years preparing for this, got my business degree, changed my last name from Carter to Collins, lost the glasses and the awkward teenager body, became someone he'd notice, someone he'd want. I studied him like he was an exam I couldn't afford to fail. His favorite restaurants, his gym, his coffee shop, the charity galas he attended. I positioned myself in his orbit and waited. It took 3 months before he approached me at a fundraiser. Champagne in hand, that famous Harrington smile that probably melted 1,000 women before me. "I've seen you around," he said. "Alina, right?" "Right. And you're Liam Harrington." "Guilty. Can I buy you a drink? Or is that redundant at an open bar?" I laughed. Let him think he was charming. Let him think this was his idea. We dated for 6 weeks before I let him kiss me. 3 months before I let him into my bed. 6 months before I let him fall in love with me. And with every date, every touch, every whispered promise, I was thinking about my father, about my mother's tears, about Victor Harrington's smug face when he signed the papers that destroyed us. Liam gave me everything I needed without knowing it. Access to his father's office, passwords written on sticky notes, conversations about business deals over dinner. He trusted me completely. Why wouldn't he? I was his girlfriend, the woman he wanted to marry, the one he brought home to meet his monster of his father. That dinner was the hardest night of my life, sitting across from Victor Harrington, smiling while he complimented my dress, pretending I didn't want to throw my wine in his face and scream about what he'd done. But Liam's hand was on my knee under the table, and he was so proud to introduce me, so happy. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt something crack inside my chest. I ignored it. I had a job to do. I spent a year collecting evidence, insider trading, tax evasion, bribes paid to officials. Victor Harrington's empire was built on corruption, and I documented every crime. I had everything I needed to send him to prison for 20 years, to bankrupt the company, to destroy the Harrington name the way he destroyed the Carter name. The plan was simple: deliver everything to the FBI, watch Victor's world burn, walk away from Liam with the satisfaction of knowing I'd taken his father from him the way his father took mine. But then Liam proposed. We were in Paris, overlooking the Seine at sunset. He got down on one knee with a ring that cost more than my parents' first house, and he looked at me like I was everything, like his whole world existed in my answer. "Elena, I love you. I've loved you since the moment you laughed at my terrible joke at that fundraiser. You make me want to be better. You make me believe in things I thought were just fairy tales. Marry me. Build a life with me. Let me spend forever making you happy." I said yes, because that was the plan. Get engaged, get closer to the family, make the betrayal hurt more. But when he kissed me, I felt something I wasn't supposed to feel, something that terrified me more than anything Victor Harrington had ever done. I was falling in love with him. Real love, not the fake version I'd been performing for a year, the kind that made my chest hurt when he smiled, the kind that made me want to tell him the truth about everything, the kind that made me question the revenge I'd been planning since I was 19 years old. I tried to push it down, reminded myself why I was doing this, but Liam kept being kind, kept being genuine, kept being nothing like his father. One night, 3 weeks after the engagement, I broke down. We were at his apartment. He was cooking dinner, dancing badly to old music, making me laugh despite everything. And I realized he didn't know.
He had no idea what his father had done. He'd been away at college when it happened.
Victor had kept it from him, protected his son from the ugly truth of how the empire was built. Liam was innocent, and I was about to destroy him anyway. "Tell me about your family," I said quietly. "Your real family story." He turned from the stove, confused by my tone. "What do you mean?" "Your father, his business practices, how he built the company." Liam's expression shifted. Something guarded entered his eyes. "Why are you asking?" "Because I need to know who I'm marrying into." We talked until 3 in the morning, and slowly, painfully, Liam admitted things he'd been ignoring for years. Suspicious deals, families ruined, his father's ruthlessness. He'd suspected, but suspecting and knowing are different things, and he'd been too afraid to look too closely at the empire he was supposed to inherit. "I'm not him," Liam said finally, his voice raw. "I know I carry his name. I know I benefit from everything he's done. But I'm not him, Elena. I want to do things differently. I want to be different." That's when I made my decision. I told him everything, who I really was, why I'd approached him, the evidence I'd collected, the revenge I'd been planning. I watched his face break as I spoke, watched him realize our entire relationship was built on lies, watched the man I loved look at me like I was a stranger. "You were going to destroy my father using me," he said. Not a question, a statement of fact. "Yes." "Did you ever love me? Even a little? Or was it all fake?" That's when I started crying. It was supposed to be fake. It was supposed to be easy. But I fell in love with you, Liam. Really, genuinely fell in love. And now I don't know what to do. Because I love you, but I also hate what your father did to my family, and He held up his hand, stopped me mid-sentence. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. "Give me the evidence," he said finally. "What?" "Everything you collected on my father. Give it to me." I didn't understand. Didn't know if this was him protecting his father or destroying me. But I gave him the flash drive. Watched him turn it over in his hands. "My father destroyed your family," Liam said quietly. "I can't undo that. I can't bring your father back. But I can make sure Victor Harrington faces consequences for what he's done. Not because you manipulated me into it. Because it's right." He walked to his laptop, started making calls. By morning, he'd contacted the FBI himself, turned over the evidence, initiated an investigation. And when his father called, screaming about betrayal, Liam looked him in the eye and said, "You made me complicit in your crimes. That ends now." Victor Harrington was arrested 3 weeks later. The trial lasted 6 months. He got 18 years in federal prison. The company was seized. The empire crumbled. Everything I'd wanted happened. But I lost Liam in the process. He couldn't forgive the lies, couldn't get past the manipulation. Even though he'd done the right thing in the end, our foundation was poisoned. We broke up 2 months after his father's conviction. "I love you," he said on our last night together. "That's the worst part. I genuinely, completely love you. But I'll never know what was real and what was performance. And I can't build a life on that uncertainty." That was 8 months ago. I got my revenge. Victor Harrington is in prison. My family name is vindicated. My mother cried with relief when the verdict came down. But I think about Liam every single day. About what we could have been if I'd met him honestly. If I told him the truth from the beginning instead of weaponizing his feelings. I destroyed his father's empire. Mission accomplished. I just didn't expect to destroy my own heart in the process. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. They don't tell you it tastes like ashes when you finally eat it. They don't tell you that sometimes winning feels exactly like losing. And they definitely don't tell you that the person you hurt most might be yourself. I got everything I wanted. Justice, vindication, victory. Everything except the one thing I didn't know I needed. Him. And now I have to live with that. Every single day. Knowing I had something real and destroyed it with something fake. Knowing that the best thing that ever happened to me was part of the worst plan I ever made. I'm Elena Carter,
I dated the enemy's son to destroy his father's empire. I succeeded. And I've been paying for that success ever since.